Julia C. Rock is a keynote speaker, leadership consultant, and certified executive coach dedicated to uncomplicating leadership and eliminating burnout from the modern workplace. She is the founder and CEO at Rock Career Development, a Houston-based consulting firm that partners with organizations to reduce employee turnover and increase long-term profitability through customized leadership development solutions. During our empowering conversation, Julia reminds us that God is listening to our prayers. He knows what's best for us. He knows what we want for our relationships, our careers, our businesses, but He also knows what we are and are not ready for. But as Julia reminds us, when we are ready for it, He will open the floodgates. What a timely message for this time of year. Thank you, thank you, thank you already, Julia, and welcome. Welcome to She Leads Boldly, the podcast for faith-driven women navigating high-stakes leadership without compromising what matters most. I am Sharika Sanders, your host, mentor, and kingdom business leader. Here, we embrace bold leadership rooted in purpose, not pressure. This space is for the woman who refuses to choose between faith and ambition, family and fulfillment, impact and rest. Each week, you'll hear powerful conversations, practical strategies, and spirit-led wisdom to help you advocate for yourself, lead with integrity, and rise without burnout. If you're ready to lead boldly, live faithfully, and never settle for less than what God has promised, you're in the right place. I know that, first of all, I have met some amazing people on this journey. And today, after the conversation we have, you will have also met an amazing person that I have met on this journey. And so first, I just want to thank you because I already know before we get a minute in that we are going to step on some toes, but in the best way possible. Thank you, Julia, for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sharika, for having me. I'm a truth teller. So we really might step on some toes, but it's with love, it's with heart. It's not meant to hurt anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to get into a topic that honestly we kind of already started, but it's something that I feel so many of us can relate to, no matter what stage you are in life.
Mm-hmm.
And this can be any person really in your life. But as women, oftentimes we put this responsibility on our spouses, on our mates, on our significant others. And the comment that you made that stepped on my own toe was, happiness cannot be found outside of the will of God.
That's right. That's right. That's something that was instilled in me and still to this day by my mom. As I've gone through different ups and downs in life and I've agonized about it, my mom always recenters me. I'm not trying to dismiss your feelings in some way, but you really have to ask yourself, was this thing truly part of the will of God? Did you seek God before you did this? Did you pray? Did you ask? And even when it comes to relationships, where it's like, I'm not happy, this person isn't making me happy, but it's like, well, should you really be looking for happiness in something that you didn't seek God about? And one other thing I wanted to add on that is, putting your happiness on someone else's shoulders is a huge responsibility to give someone else, right? They've got their own stuff and now you're waiting for them to make you feel good about you, right? And so it's just a lot of pressure to put on someone else where God can actually carry that weight. And we lose sight of that because we're just like, I want this person to make me happy because I'm trying my best to make them happy, burning ourselves out in the process because we can't make anybody happy either. It's an inside job.
Yes. And so I mean, you've said the episode there. I think if anybody just sat with what you just said, it'll reveal so many different things to them. And something we often confuse is, oh, but well, we both love God, so this must be of God. Or, we met at church, so this must be of God. Or all of these ways that we try to make a situation be something that we want it to be, instead of really spending that time in consulting with our Father and saying, is this what you have for me? Is this the person that you have for me? And how am I to show up? How do we need to show up as a collective unit to make you happy? Because and that's in being obedient, that's in having the intimate time, that's in giving reverence. But it's just amazing. And another comment that was made is we do allow society and all of these other external factors to tell us, close friends, family, oh, well, if they're not doing this, then they're not
Mm.
the one. Or if they're not doing that, then you need to leave. What did
Hmm.
God say?
What did God say? And because when we're looking at, oh, they didn't do this or they didn't do that, it's often rooted in kind of a selfish mindset. Like if
Mm-hmm.
they're not doing this for me, if I don't feel a certain
Mm-hmm.
way and so forth. And
Yeah.
it's a selfish kind of carnal mindset. And if
Yeah.
we're truly trying to live a Christ-like life, we can't operate that way because God will download on us and into us,
Mm-hmm.
who we should be spending our time with. We don't know what the person is going through mentally, that they're not doing the stuff. We don't know what they're dealing
Right.
with right now. They
Right.
may they may be in a moment where they need space, where they need us to hold space for them. But that's something that we have to seek the Lord with first. And one of the things that we have a bad habit of doing is we make a decision and then we try to get God to rationalize
Mm.
it and justify it on the
Mm-hmm.
back end
Mm-hmm.
versus going to him first. We do things out of order
Yeah.
and then we get upset. Well, God, why didn't you bless my marriage? I
Right.
told you to leave that man alone. Why are you
Right.
asking me?
I gave you all the signs and wonders.
Literally the red flashing sign, all the red
Uh-huh.
flags were going, and you said, nope,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with this person, and then upset when
Mm-hmm.
things don't work out.
Yeah. That's so something else that you even added to that. God knows what you want for your relationships, for your career, for your business, but He also knows what you are and are not ready for.
Hmm.
And again, on my own toes, because there have been time I can even think about prayers I had a year ago, like, I'm ready now. These are the things that happen. So I know I'm ready for X. And then I think about today and I'm like, oh, if that would have happened a year ago, no, I wouldn't have done, I would have messed it up. I wouldn't have been a good steward. I would have been irresponsible, all of these things. And how much, honestly, how disrespectful, I'll go that far. How disrespectful are we to God when we say, you may not realize it yet, but I know that I'm ready. And
That
so
I'm ready. I'm
right,
telling you.
right. You need to get on board with what because I'm ready. I'm waiting on you. And
and and one of the things that my dad told me and well, as a kid, and he still mentions it from time to time now, is that God will do anything he has to save us. And
mm,
he knows that if he was to give us the thing a year ago, 2 years ago, when we asked, it would
hmm
either cause us to stumble, it would break
hmm
our faith, it would
hmm
cause us to be sad, to treat people poorly. It would cause us and shake us in a way that would take us off the path. And because all of us say, well, if we had all the money, our problems would be solved. But God knows that, or you're not ready to steward that
yeah,
kind of money. How would
yeah,
you treat people if you had
yeah,
that kind of money?
yeah,
Right? Or if I got that job, I would be happy. But it's like you want that job to be the boss so that you can yell at the person who mistreated you before, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
so God wants us to go through the process of growth and maturation.
hmm
And also, And I had to learn this when I left corporate. Sometimes he wants us to be humble for a period of time, and that we are comfortable fully relying on him. Because in
Yeah.
corporate, you know, I was making good money, I was an expat, I was out here living my best life. And then you become a full-time entrepreneur, and life comes at you real fast,
Real fast.
real fast. And I think he allowed me to go through that period
Yeah.
so that I could get back to the point of, God, I am solely on this walk with you. Without
Yeah.
you, I am nothing. Because when we're
Hmm.
at that point, then he can work through us, then he can bless us with abundance because he knows we're going to be good stewards of it and share it with others.
Yes.
And that we're not going to get too big for our britches, right? We're not going to let our heads blow up
Yeah.
because we know where it comes from.
Yeah.
So sometimes we got to go on that journey. We're not ready for the stuff we say we're ready for.
No, we're not. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we know that we're not,
Right.
but it's our being impatient and being uncomfortable in the place that we're in. But our growth happens in the uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So I would even challenge anyone listening right now to say, if you feel like you are completely comfortable in every area, then you're probably not growing. You're stagnant, and you really should go and get that checkup, check in so you can get a checkup.
That's right.
What is it you really should be doing? Because that's where we grow, in the uncomfortable. And I'll even also speak to the one who says, well, I know I don't have I'm not as prideful as I used to be. I don't get angry like I used to be. And all of these things that you really have grown from, and you see the vision, you see where God has called you, and you also see where you have come from, and you're in this middle transition phase, and you're like, but how do I get there? How do I get to the promised land,
Hmm.
so to speak, when I've already left my Egypt, whether I realize that's what it was or not? Well, I've already left my Egypt, and you know, and I don't even know if I want to call it your wilderness that you're in, because you've gone through the things, and now it's like this middle space, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I think about that because I was someone who had a really bad temper. My family's West Indian, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So that's not a recipe for mild-mannered people, right? And
Right.
so it took a lot of work to get past that temper.
Yeah.
And but for a period of time, I did feel like, okay, I'm in this wilderness kind of
Yeah.
space, right? Because I've done the work, but am I fully there?
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the deepening of my faith had to be, simply because there's not I think in our own minds we think that there's a promised land to get to. And
Right.
what God is trying to tell us is, like, it's not so much about the promised land, it's on the journey that I want you to go on, so that and walk with me together.
Yes.
And so the molding and the shaping and the growth that happens on the journey, that's what you should be looking through, versus
Yes.
like, am I there yet? Like children in the car,
Yes.
right? Like, are we
Yes.
there yet? Are we there
Yes.
yet?
Yes.
And it's like, that's not what he wants us to do. It's about us holding his hand, and it's
Yeah.
like we're walking together
Mm.
and continuing to deepen our faith and grow our faith, because they're going to be bigger and bigger challenges. And that's the other thing about when we think we've
Yes.
gotten past it, right? But we haven't been tested to the full capacity
Right.
in our new space. And
Mm-hmm.
so that growth journey allows us that we're going to get hit with it in different ways. And so
Yeah.
he's going to continue to test us, or allow us to be tested, for us
Yeah.
to see, okay, have we truly grown, or have we just told ourselves that, like, oh, I did all the work, I'm there. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of us really focusing on that, that promised land, it's like, this is about the journey that we take with the Lord.
Hey, sis, can we pause for a quick moment? If you've been feeling that tug to go deeper, to become the wife God actually called you to be, not just the one the world expects, I have something special for you. Join me on January 10th, 2026, for Becoming Her, the Wife God Called, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a day designed for ambitious, faith-filled wives and moms, and wives in waiting, to reconnect with God's pace, surrounded by powerful speakers, luxury gift bags, amazing food, and a sisterhood that gets it. Tickets are just $50, but seats are limited. And trust me, they'll go fast. And if you're a brand or business that believes in empowering women of faith, there are sponsorship opportunities available too. So don't wait. Head to Transform the Gap, that's GAAP.com, click events to grab your ticket or learn more about partnering with us. Now let's get back to today's episode. And I would even also say to that person in the messy middle, if your thought process is, I've done the things, how do I get to whatever the next is? Then this is your cue that you're not there yet because you're still thinking about I.
That's right.
And that next level of blessing, it's never for or about us.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
about other people and what we can do for others and how we can expand the kingdom and be disciples of his word. And so if your thought is, well, when I get to this and then I can do, and if I is anywhere in that, you're not there yet.
And I love that point because if you think about if you were busy doing the work of serving others, you don't have that much time to stew
Mhm.
in am I there yet? Am I not there yet?
Mhm.
Because you're busy doing the work of serving others, helping others,
Yeah.
and in whatever capacity that might be. And so I love that point because if we're truly about our Father's business, we
Mhm.
don't have a ton of time to constantly agonize about, am I there yet? Or when I get there, I'll do this. And when I get there, I'll do that. It's like, whenever I get there, I get there. In the
Mhm.
meantime, I'm going to do what the Lord has called me to do.
Amazing. Amazing. And what do you, well, I feel like in this space, one of the things, like I'll even say, like for me, okay, so I used to, I still do, but my process was I would always get up in the morning and have my intimate time. Everybody's still asleep. I can, read, have my own praise and worship if, in with the behind closed doors and not wake everybody else up and
Right.
just truly have my time. But there was a point where I would still get up to pray. I would still even have praise and worship, but I wasn't reading my Bible. And I stopped
Mhm.
because I was so frustrated with where things were. And the Bible is full of his promises and his goodness and all the miracles and blessings that he's given. And I was like, but I don't see any of that for me. And so it was instead of allowing that to encourage me and push me forward, I allowed it to discourage me to say, well, what about me? What about me? What about me?
Mhm.
And kind of pull back. And so that was for me one of the ways that I knew you're not ready yet.
Mm, man, that's good because I think about me last year where I had a moment like that where I wanted certain sales to come in and I felt like they weren't happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, man, I'm like, I am praying, like, what is it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But to that point, it was that God was still in the humbling process because I
Yeah.
felt that I should already be there. I should already have this happening. I had been building my business for this amount of time. And so I was on my own schedule. And
Mm-hmm.
God had to reset me to let me know, you're on my schedule. And we're
Right.
going to get there when I say we get there
Right.
because there's still work that you clearly need to do and I need to work through in you. So
Mm-hmm.
so that was part of the realization for me because I felt like I was praying and writing the same thing in my prayer journal
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And then fast forward to 2025 when certain things started happening and I was able to start working with certain brands, I went back and was reading kind of this stuff and I was just like, man, he was really just trying to get me to be faithful and be humble so that when
Yeah.
I got to getting the brand deals
Yes.
I wanted, then
Yes.
it's like, okay, I know that this has nothing to do with me, has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with my skill set, my intellect, nothing. This is all
Mm-hmm.
because I have remained faithful, and this is
Yes.
part of his specific purpose for my life.
Mm-hmm. And he's not going to write himself out of his own story.
Amen.
So if, and he knows if I bless them right now, they may be good stewards. They may save, they may invest, they may give tithes, offerings, all the things, but they're also going to take all of the credit. They're
Mm.
also going to wait for people to tell them thank you and act as if they are the source and not the resource that I've allowed to bless others. And so sometimes we feel, oh, but I'm going to do this or I'm going, you will, but then you're going to forget where your help came from.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so he's not going to write himself out. And he needs to make sure that when you get to that space, even though it may be a place of you know, joy, whatever it is, it may be that place that you've been dreaming about. He wants to make sure that when you're dreaming about it, when you're there, you're still there with him
That's
and you
right.
didn't leave him.
And if I can just add one thing there,
Yeah.
I remember being a kid and you would see people like getting up and praising in church, and it's like this big praise, and I'm like, people be doing the most. But then as I got older and I
Hmm.
went through the different things, and then I realized how many things he moved out of my way and things he
Yes.
positioned and things I could have never even dreamed of doing
Yeah.
on my own. It was solely through his power. The level of praise you are able to give when those moments is just unmatched. And so
Yes.
as I got older, I realized what people were doing when I was a kid. I was like, these people be doing the most in the
Hmm.
prayer service and the
Hmm.
praise service, just doing the maximum. But
Hmm.
now I'm that person. I'm the
Hmm.
hand raised, just thank you,
Hmm.
Lord, because of the things that I know that could never have happened if it wasn't for
Yeah.
him. And that's
Yeah.
where he wants us to get to, where it's like for us to keep it in our minds that everything you do, achieve, see, touch, eat, all of that is
Yeah.
because of him, so that we never lose
Hmm.
sight of that, and that we never think ourselves too highly and we look down on others, because we are one step away from being
Yeah.
where someone else is. And
Yes.
he never wants us to sit on our high horses.
And I'll even add to that one. For me, it was when you have a conversation with someone and every other, you say, oh, thank you for, I don't know, helping me out. Oh, God is good. Okay, all right. We know, like, do you have to speak in Bibleese and oh, well, praise God. And it's like, oh my, okay, I get it. I love him too, but
So let's
right
get
now
through
we're
the
talking
conversation.
about right now we're talking about this thing, and I used to be like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to talk to people and them not feel like I'm throwing God in their face and or down their throats. But then it was like, well, wait a minute, he is good, and they know what he's brought them from, and
Hmm.
he does get the glory. Whatever it was that they were able to help you with, you don't know how he was able to bless them for them to be able to help you. And so they are rightly so. When you say thank you, they're just putting the praise back where it belongs.
That's right.
And so it was definitely that's something that I struggled with at first. And then it was like, but wait a minute. I that's how I should. Like, that was a guide. That was an example of this is how you're supposed to talk. Consistently give him praise. We are here for him to worship him. So why wouldn't you find a way to put him in your conversation? Why wouldn't you say God bless you when you leave, somebody's presence? And the fact that you're not, again, another sign that you're not there yet.
You're not there yet, because God should not just be saved for prayer time and church time, right? The fact
Right.
is we need to acknowledge him, because that's how we breathe air in and out.
Yes.
every day, right? So the idea that we just try to put him in these slivers of time
Mm-hmm.
versus him letting him be ever present in our conversations, and so I love that idea. Like, no, that's how we should be framing it. The conversations we
Mm-hmm.
should have, it should be very clear that
Mm-hmm.
we know where our help comes from, and it's not from
Right.
us or from anyone around us. It comes directly from the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And oh, I almost forgot my scriptural reference. So I always try to add a scriptural reference in our conversations, and I kind of see how we go the flow and try to figure out what's best. But the one that came up for me very early in Nehemiah 18, which do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Mm,
And I felt like that was so fitting for today because it doesn't say that there won't be moments where you're unhappy. There won't be times where you are hurt. But having your joy in the Lord doesn't mean that you're going to have your emotions. You're going to be angry, you're going to be sad, you're going to do all the things, but ultimately where are you going to land?
that's right.
Are you going to have your pity party and then say, all right, Lord, I know I needed that minute and I took it, but God is faithful and I'm back. I'm ready. I'm good. I'm okay. I give it all to you. And I think sometimes that when people hear or your happiness is in God, it doesn't mean that things won't happen. He knows that things happen. He allows things to happen because that's what continues to usher us to him and put him first.
That's right.
But part of that process is, are you going to be, how long, number one, are you going to stay in that negative space? And then is it going to be blaming other people and doing all, like, how long is it going to take you to click and realize, wait a minute, God is my happiness. He is my strength. He is my joy. And if I focus on him, these other things don't even matter. If I focus on him, I know that whatever this situation is going to work out. And if I release, because we sometimes we have a problem with that one too.
That's
We
for real.
said it's
Hmm.
supposed to go this way and it's not going this way. And so God must not be in it. And so I need to control what the outcome and what's happening. But if we truly give it to him and release it and allow God to be God,
That's right. Yes, heavy on that. Allow God to be Him.
yes, we'll see that it always works out. And oftentimes it looks nothing like what we thought it was going to look like. It doesn't happen anywhere near the way we thought it was supposed to happen because
Yeah.
of course we have all the ideas, all the great ideas, and we know all the things. And I hope everyone hears the full sarcasm in that statement, but we truly release it and say, I don't know, this is yours. And even with other people, Lord, that's your child. I'm
Right, we don't need to fight all of the battles, and one of
no.
the thing that one of the things I try to remind myself and others when they say, about if you have your joy in the Lord, right, you're supposed to be happy and so forth, but it's like, remember, Jesus was about to get crucified. Jesus wasn't gleefully running around high-fiving
Mm-mm.
people like, I'm about to get put on a cross, y'all. Like, I'm like, even the Son of God was like, Father, if it be thy will
Yes,
to take this cup from him, right?
yes,
So I'm like, if Jesus himself,
yeah,
the model of perfection, had his moments,
yes,
God is okay with us taking the moments and not being gleeful and
yeah.
toxic positivity. But
Mm-hmm.
but he does want us to remember all the goodness he's provided us up until this point. For whatever reason, whenever we get into a problem, we forget that God had been good to us before we got here. And we lose sight of all the obstacles he's moved, the money he's put in our account, the healing he's provided. We forget that and we
So
start to
quickly.
stew. And so he just wants to see, well, how quickly will you get back to remembering how good I have been? I have always showed up for you. Why do you
Mm-hmm.
think this is the one time that I'm not going to show up? After all the history we have together,
Mm-hmm.
this is the
Mm-hmm.
moment I choose to bail. Come on. And
Yeah,
so, and that's how I remind myself that no matter how low I think I am or
yeah,
how bad things are going,
yeah.
God has showed up for me, saved my life, delivered me, paid bills, whatever it is. He
Yes.
has shown up in big and even bigger ways. And so whatever I'm going through now, he's already telling me, listen, I
Hmm.
have done this before.
Right.
Relax. Chill out. Chill out. Have your
You're not the
moment,
first.
cry and whatever, but chill out. We're like, I've had your back to this point. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
leave you hanging. And is it Paul who says, and I'm young now, I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or their seed begging
Yes.
bread.
Begging
And
bread.
so we
Hmm.
have to hold fast to the promises that God has given us and the
Hmm.
fact that he's not going to leave us out to dry, especially as we've seen him do it for us before. He's going to do it again.
Hmm. Yeah. That's actually one of my, so I've been this year been doing a memorizing a new verse each month, and one that I try to do something that I haven't, something relatable, and then I recite it twice a day, every day. For January it was one verse, and February it was two, and each month I add on to it. But
Oh, that's
because
cool.
that was just a way of trying to become more familiar and more ingrained and in God speak, because those verses are recalled, in various situations. And so the first one of the year was Psalm 37:25. I have not seen which is the one that we just said. I have been young and now I'm old. Yeah, I have not seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe it was David because it's Psalm.
Oh, if it was Psalm,
David,
that's David. Yeah.
yeah, he all over that. So,
Right. And,
but
and
that was
that's one of my favorite recalls, that one. And then Psalm 46 verse 1, the Lord is my refuge and my strength, a very present help in trouble. So I rely on that often to remember that, he's always going to be present
yes.
when I'm in trouble.
Yeah. And I'll even say for those of us, because I've been that person when I first really started because I've started on my journey many times, but when I was like, okay, like seriously, Sharika, and for me, it was honestly, I felt like people who are called by God suffer, and I don't want to suffer. So I had for many, many years a lukewarm relationship
Mm,
because that was my safe space and that was my way to acknowledge God, but not take it too far because
right.
I don't want you
I don't
calling
want
me.
the stuff. I don't want the
Or
stuff that comes with that.
right, exactly. Until I finally had to say, all right, it's because what I didn't want was him to call me by force, because
Mm,
I
wow.
know that's going to look a certain kind of way. And so, you know what? I choose you. And I had a reason for saying that and I completely lost it. But in in that walk, oh, so early in that walk, and I started becoming more familiar, started reading the Bible and really taking my time and reading it. And as I would read about all of the miracles and blessings in the Old Testament that the Israelites received when they were in the wilderness and they received manna and the Red Sea was part, all these things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
well, if you did that to me, I would remember. And they didn't even remember. And it wouldn't have taken me 40 years. But then back to what you just said, how many times, and he had to pull me together real quick. How many times have I done things for you? And then something else comes up and you completely forget that
Immediate
miracle, that
amnesia.
thing that I pulled out for you. So you can look at everybody else and say what you would have done. But how about you look in the mirror at your own self and talk about what are the areas where I've blessed you, and then
Hmm.
something else came up and you, oh Lord, what are we? And the crazy thing is the moment I realized for me where I say, you know what? Lord, I don't know. So this is on you. I have no idea what to do. The moment I let go, and or those moments, times where I don't even let it get to me and I take it straight, like somebody hand it to me and I hand it right, right off. It seems like it just goes away. It ends just like that. But every time I try to sit and toil, how am I going to figure this out? What am I going to do? Oh Lord, let me go pray because I need you to give me the answer right now, right this second. I need to know. And it stays and it stays. It stays.
Yep.
Like, Lord, just take this away. I don't know what to do. I give up. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all he's asking for. And I try to give the illustration of if you're driving a car and you have your hands on the wheel and someone else is tugging at it, the ride in the car is doing this, right?
Mm,
But imagine if the other person was to take their hands off the wheel and let one person
mm,
drive, how much smoother would that ride be?
that's
And
amazing.
so, so for us, we want to help God, and now the car is doing this, and he's like, get your hands off this wheel. And so when we finally let go, we're like, I'm gonna give it to you. He's like, thank you. I can go back to driving the car and keeping you safe and healthy and providing for your needs.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
Thank you.
And I think that's a great summation to all that we've been talking about because it's something we're all very familiar with. It's something we can all relate to because I could see it in my head, the car going, and it's like, oh, you're about to make me cry. You're about to make me cry. Move.
Get out the way.
Get out. And we even know to take to add a little piece to that. We even know how when we're driving and we have the backseat drivers or the passenger try to say, "Oh, you can go now. Oh, you stop at that light." Or are you
Right.
gonna? And how many times have we tried to say to God, "Oh, you can. They're ready now, so you can go ahead and do the thing. You can you can go ahead and move over here. Okay, we're like, I didn't ask you. I
I don't need any help. I got this thing covered. Thank you so much. I'm good.
so I appreciate the analogy because that one's gonna stick with me. I'm gonna have to tell somebody else, a few other people. I'll probably be repeating that one. I had a conversation with Julia and she said, so I
Oh man, that's
I
awesome.
will have to repeat that one. But I just want to thank you so much for being so willing to share your story, your vulnerability, and your expertise with us because you gave us some great things that are relatable that we can remember in those times and some great examples and some great analogies. And absolutely, because I know from our having this conversation, there will be others like I have to hear more from her. And so I'll make sure the information, don't fret my pets. I'll make sure all of your contact information is included. But thank you so very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. This was just fun. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on the platform with you and talk about the goodness of the Lord. Thank you for the privilege of being here. I'm so grateful, Sharika. Thank you.
And until next time. Hey, friend, if this episode stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you subscribe to She Leads Boldly so you never miss an episode. And let's stay connected. Join our growing community of faith driven powerhouse women where you'll find real talk, encouragement, and tools to fuel your journey. Oh, and I've created something special just for the bold, faith driven women like you an ebook, When You Know His Name. Discover identity, intimacy, and the power of prayer through the names of God. This ebook is designed to equip and encourage you to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction in every space God assigns you to. Available now on Amazon. And if you're ready for deeper clarity, I would love to personally walk with you. I offer a one-on-one session called Your Path to Purpose and Power, and it's to help you break through the overwhelm and realign with what God is actually calling you to in this season. Whether it's burnout, boundaries, or fresh vision, you don't have to figure it out alone. All links are in the show notes. Oh, and one last thing. I would love to hear from you. What questions are you carrying this season? What topics would serve your walk, your work, your womanhood right now? Send me a message or an email because this podcast is for you, and I want every episode to speak directly to where you are. Remember, you don't have to choose between your faith, your family, and the calling on your life. God's grace makes room for it all. So until next time, stay anchored in purpose, covered in grace, and always ready to rise. Talk soon, friend.